Hi, my YouTube friends. Some of you have requested that I paint some other flowers. So this is one of the easiest ones that you can learn to paint. Very simple. So I'm going to show you here. This is the simple daisy. And if you can see, there are leaves underneath the flower. So I'm going to be painting the leaves first. So I'm going to use my 3/4 flat. And flat brushes allow you to double load, which means you can pick up 2 colors. You can pick up 3 colors or 4 colors even. I'm going to be using 2 shades of green. I'm going to pick up my dark green on one corner of the brush and the lighter green on the opposite corner. And I'm going to blend back and forth. I'm loading the brush so that a lot of paint goes inside my bristles, so that it would get a nice blending effect. So you've got your dark here, your light here, and in between you should have some of the combination of the two, the blending colors. So right here, push down hard. I'm going to be using a special medium. This is called the floating medium, and this allows the paint to glide on your surface, especially when you're painting on surfaces that are porous. I'm painting on paper here using very thick paint, so I will need to use some of this so that the paint will glide easier, okay, without getting dry edges. So I've got my brush fully loaded. I'm going to pick up my medium, and I'm just putting my chisel right in there. I didn't dunk it or scoop it, just touch the chisel, okay, like that. And then you've got to always remember to go back and blend again. And what it's doing here is the medium is blending with my paint so that it will glide easy. So I'm just going to kind of sketch like a shape where my daisy will go, so I know where to place my leaves, so it won't be too far out or too much underneath where you can't see, like right in here. I could actually have that leaf show up a little better. So I'm going to stick that one out a little more. So by doing that, it will kind of help you with placement. So I'm taking my chisel, laying with the dark green on the outside, and I'm just kind of just waving my brush and ending on my chisel. Picking up more paint, and right in here, same thing on this side right here, and end on my chisel. Pull my chisel into the leaf for the stem, pick up more paint, and I'll put another leaf right in here. So here, and be really loose or not too stiff with your hands when you're holding the brush. I am using the bottom side of my brush, then end on your chisel. That's going to give you a nice point. And I'm pulling my chisel, leading with the light color on the bottom to pull in and paint my stem. Now I'm going to add a few more leaves right up here. So I'm going to add some little stems, really nice and fine, and you can get that by holding your brush handle straight up and down and just kind of ice skating on your surface. I call it ice skating because it's barely touching the surface. So I did some nice skinny stems there. I'm going to add some leaves, so I'm just touching. Let it sit down a little bit and let the bristle spring back on its chisel. And another one right in here. You can turn your surface to make it easier if you'd like. Always picking up more paint. Another one right in here. Push down a little bit, end on your chisel. Another one right in here. And I'm going to add more leaves after I finish my flower, but this is good to start off with. So I am now going to wipe off my brush, and I'm going to pick up my white and white here, and I pick up a little bit of this light green. And I'm going to blend now, trying to get the paint to go inside my bristles. A lot of paint. and touch my chisel right in there. That's the floating medium. Now you got to decide where you want your center to be, center of the flower, because all these petals will start from the outside and they will go right to that same spot in the middle. So I'm putting my center right there, and here's a rule, kind of double the width of your brush to know where to start. So I'm going to start right about here, because you don't want to start too close, because you won't have room for your pressure and release and go to the center. So you want to have enough room here for your pressure. See, I'm pushing down a little bit, leaning towards the dot. I'm pulling, but then as I'm pulling, I'm slowly releasing pressure so I get that nice shape for my petal. And keep going around, lean to the center, pull, and end on your chisel. And I'm picking up paint with every stroke. Push down, pull to the center. Depending on the pressure on your brush, you can get skinny petals like here. Here's one there's hardly any pressure right there. You can have a bunch of skinny ones like that, but the more you push down, the wider your petals will be. So I'm just going to push down a little bit and keep going around and around. See that? Picking up paint each time. So remember, it's about the double width of your brush. So start right here, lean to the dot, push down a little bit, pull to the dot, release pressure as you're pulling, and let it stick right to that center. And I'm going to add some more, keep going. Remember, you can always turn your surface here. And picking up my little light green there. And you can use any color. I just used light green. You can use any color you want. Here. And I'm keeping my white on the outside. So I'm now going to go back and just fill in some more. See that? Pull. So this is a really simple one to do. Chisel, lean to the dot, pull. And remember, as you're pulling, you want to make sure you're making a straight line with slight pressure. Because if you tend to curve it, which a lot of people do, meaning they curve the petal, they will come out with a pinwheel looking flower, which means the wind is blowing too hard and it's going in one direction, and you don't want that to happen. So there, that looks pretty full. Okay, so now we've got our petals painted. I'm going to now take my scruffy brush. This is almost like a stencil brush. It's flat on the top. I want to fluff it out a little bit, so I'm using my fingers. See that? So it's kind of like a shape of an oval, a small little oval. I'm going to double load this, which means part of it, or half of my scruffy, will be with my yellow, because I'm going to now add the center. And now I'm going to tap the opposite side with my dark color here. So I've got a dark and a light color, the yellow and the burgundy color, and I'm just going to now tap. Tap, 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 keeping the yellow on the top, kind of going in a circular motion. And your centers can be any combination, but I kind of like these two colors. They look nice together. Okay, so there's my center. I always go back and just to make the center stand out a little more, I get my script liner, which is a nice long skinny brush, and these will help you get nice fine lines, or when you're doing little detail work like little dots I'm adding here. This is a great brush to use. Okay, so I'm just tapping little dots kind of on the outside and a little bit in the inside, and really make sure you don't pick up too much paint, because you don't want these to be too big. So I'm just tap, tap, tapping. You see that? Right around the outside. And don't go too far out. This is just a little detail work. Go a few into your yellow. Tap, tap, tap. Okay, that looks good. All right, now I'm going to go back and add a few more leaves. I'm going to show you how to make these kind of transparent leaves. And I add this to help fill up my design. I use it to balance my painting. I use it to make my painting look fuller without it looking like it's too much. Because I've got several leaves here, but I just want to add some transparent ones. And I'm going to take my flat brush, my number 12 flat, right here. Get it wet, but then get all the water out. Now before I do some of these shadow ones, I'm going to go back and add a few more of my solid leaves here. So I'm going to double load again. This is a little bit smaller brush. Remember, I'm double loading. I've got the dark green on one side, the lighter green on the other, and I'm really pushing down to get the paint to go inside my brush. Touch right into the medium and paint some leaves. So I'm going to pull out some skinny stems. See that? And I'm just kind of ice skating with my light color on the bottom. And I'm going to just now add some leaves. So I'm just touching, letting the brush sit. There's a little pressure. Slowly go back onto your tippy toe and you end on your chisel. Standing on your chisel will give you a nice point. And you see that here? So you got it real important that you use a nice brush that will have a nice flat chisel edge. Add maybe a few more right in here. And here, a few more leaves. Okay, I think that's enough. You can go back and you can add some of the stems that go right in the center there. And I'm just dragging my chisel, pulling towards the center of my, oh, this one didn't get one. Let me put one right in here. And I'm leading with the light color again. So there, that looks nice. Now with the green I have on my brush, I'm just going to wipe it off. I don't want to go into water. Now I'm going to pick up a little bit of this medium and kind of mix it. So with a little bit of the paint that's in there, it's going to help me make those shadow leaves. So I've got a little bit of the green left on my brush. Now I always like to go back and add another color, usually a color that I added somewhere in the flower. So this is that burgundy color. Just picking up very little. You want to make sure you don't pick up too much. You mix that in there. And now I'm just going to add a few of those leaves. And you see what a pretty color it makes? So right here. And this just helps fill up your design without it looking too heavy. Meaning like there's too much going on there. Picking up a little more of my green because I'm running out of paint. Remember, just a little. I'm just pulling right here on my chisel. Pick up a little bit of the medium because remember that's getting mixed in there because that's what's making your paint transparent, and going back and picking up some of that burgundy color and really control how much of that you put on your brush because we don't want too much. And I'm going to go and add a few more of these. Okay. And it really adds to your painting. And if you want, you can go ahead and add your stems for those. And there you go.